So this is a great video of showing just how powerful and how important your legs are in the golf swing. Um, the face-on view for this is awesome because I think when we have that down the line view, we're not only able to see kind of the hand position and how that relates to the swing and some of the common faults you might just have setup wise, but B, where that weight shift is and why having a weight shift that kind of goes onto the back leg and then goes back onto the front leg, why that's really important, and having the, kind of a stack and tilt method or something where we're predominantly leaning on the front foot with the driver can make it very difficult to clear our body and often will cause a lot of kind of chicken winging and standing up early extension, all the kind of terminology people throw out here. But so the first thing, this red line is kind of showing where we would want to have, just alignment wise, we won't really spend too much time on that, but we know we're going to have some alignment issues here. So the thing I think we're going to look at most importantly is, especially in the driver, the space right inside of our left foot. This green line is going to kind of represent the wall. And so when we come into our irons, we would want to have our chest, or kind of like the middle of our shirt here, to be somewhat over this line. This is going to create some compression. This is going to get us on top of the ball. But with the driver, we actually want to kind of get to this green line, but then we actually want to start working behind it. We want this to be the wall and allow that left leg to brace. And this is going to help a lot with our angle of attack to be able to hitting up on the ball versus hitting down. And so if we have a pattern where we start to see here in the beginning of our swing, we start to have too much weight shift going towards this line, although what you can see subtly in this video is that the left foot of this player starts to rise up. And so they're not actually putting, 100% of the weight on their front foot, but we're not having our body move back into that rotation. If we compound that with some issues in the arms and just kind of the wrist setting, we're kind of getting to a position where we're inevitably going to be very stuck. And so we have is a very, very modern approach here. Our left hand here, if we just kind of pay attention to that wrist, we're doing a very, kind of closed Dustin Johnson, Morikawa, kind of this Jon Rahm, hand position where we're getting our body rotated quite well and stacked up, and that left wrist is very much bowed on top. And from here, the goal, which this player does very well, is we want to squat and then we want to turn and really try and get out of the way. But because we haven't given ourselves that much room, we can see our head is kind of already on top of that green line. We're basically going to run into the wall. And the only thing we can do when we're hitting that wall, unfortunately, is to stand up. And so what we're going to see here as we squat down, we do a great job, kind of getting our level, our head below that red line to start. But we can see as our body and our head's actually already starting to move over and on top of that line. And so now we've kind of approached the wall. And so from here, we're in a bit of a precarious position because we can either continue to rotate through and really come over the top of this thing, hit a big old slice, or we can try and straighten it out. And so when we have that really closed, kind of strong left hand, we don't have the opportunity to, save it with the hands because the club face is so shut that if we end up stalling out and stopping, we're going to end up just flipping and hitting this nasty little duck hook. So what we end up trying to do is we end up starting to release the club early. We just start to do a little bit of casting. And so if I get, so the numbers are all the way on top of each other. Now it's not 100% accurate with these numbers because we're having rotation, so it's a bit of an optical illusion on the face-on view to say that these are accurate, but we can kind of see visually and understand that these numbers are increasing, meaning we're losing that wrist angle as we come in. And so we're having that casting effect. And as well as if we look at that head level again here, we're going to see as we start to climb up that wall, now we're basically standing up into early extension. So because we haven't also rotated our hips and kind of cleared, we actually get into this kind of pendulum position near impact here, where the hands and everything in the beginning, we were kind of aiming there. I'm not exactly sure if that's where the ball was or if that's where the hands were behind versus we would, obviously want something a bit more on top of that front foot. But we can see how our arms, are kind of in this, chicken winging position here where, we're kind of in a putting stroke where we've now got ourselves squared up. And so this is just trying to save it because of all of the things that we talked about before. But most importantly, the thing that we really want to take away from this is the amount of power and strength that we can get with that squatting move. From here, being able to squat and to turn, if we're able to just kind of get this body and this axis a little bit more in that position where the head is kind of on top of this, in the green circle over here, we're going to allow ourselves a lot more room to be able to turn it. The problem here, especially when casting, is that the maximum speed of where our club is at when we're releasing it is probably somewhere over here. Then so actually as we start to get towards the ball, we're starting to decelerate. So clearly we're not going to get it as strong, but we can see as we come through that this player, we have so much kind of force kind of lifting us up that we're jumping up out of our shoes and we're getting, a little Scotty Scheffler, little dance move as we go through, abbreviated follow swing, follow through, and, we could see that, big old chicken wing here at the end. This is all trying to prevent, the big old duck hook. So a few little things we could change, overall with the grip and some of those things, I think alignment, but I think overall, if we kind of look as to what the main focus of this one is, of just how to properly use those legs, if we just change a little bit here and there, I'll be honest, we're doing great.